We're talking to David Booth from Cardinal Path. It's a big data and analytics company. You've did research on ROPO, research online, purchase offline.
Yes.
Or you did modeling, I should say.
Yeah,
What did
absolutely.
you do?
Yeah, I mean, the phenomenon is that we're living in this, where people have multi-devices, there's multiple touch points in this longer path to purchase. And as we've seen, the path to purchase is no longer linear. It's a cyclical and always-on process. So what we found is that a lot of our customers have a hard time quantifying the impact of digital with the offline experience. So we all know that this is happening. People will do all their research from the couch, on their tablet, on their smartphone, from their work laptop to their home PC, and then eventually go in to transact in the offline store. Everything that was connected in the online world is now disconnected as soon as they walk into the online store, or the offline store. So what's happening is people have a hard time to quantify the impact of digital. What this particular case study that we're going to speak to today was how we were able to use big data and actually extract value from this to quantify that online impact. So
you did this for a company in the US?
Yeah, so this was done for US Cellular, which is one of the larger telecoms cellular providers in the United States, competing with the Verizons and the AT&Ts and T-Mobiles. And in the United States, we have this phenomenon where people will do all of their research on the plans, the devices that they want offline, and then they will go into the store to have that instant gratification of picking out the device and having it activated there by a salesperson and walking out of the store and making a phone call or connecting.
You took all the data, but how did you connect that and analyze that?
Yeah, so this is the trick. The disconnect is bridged there by a number of different technologies, tools, and techniques. What we were able to do was take all of the point of sales data from the storefronts themselves, all the telesales data, and then marry that with all of the advertising data that's being collected and generated in the digital space. So we have social programs, we have digital marketing and advertising programs, we have website analytics, we have all these different things where we are generating different cookies, different user IDs, different activation IDs, and what's happening is we can now generate all this data and transform it and merge it in such a way that we can put it in large, in this case it was Google's BigQuery, large cloud-based storage and querying, where we can then run very, very complex queries in a very short amount of time. Queries that would have taken hours will now take seconds.
So how would you, I would go online, look at my cellular, pick a cellular online and then buy it offline. How would you connect me to the offline sale?
Yeah, great question. So a number of different methods. And the idea is if you were to go online, you will be generating data. Whether it's anonymous or whether it's logged in or identified is of no importance. When you eventually buy, you'll activate and you'll go back online to log into your account or activate a warranty or whatever that happens to be. You're able to then connect the historical cookie data. And of course you're connecting not just cookies but user IDs, and it's all anonymized up to the point of activation. When we do this, we're no longer saying that it was that single in-store experience that led to the purchase. Instead, you were impacted by this particular view of a display ad that eventually draw you into this particular search that eventually drew you back 4 or 5 times to different touch points on the website, mobile web app, and eventually did these particular actions. So every one of those steps is now valued as part of that attribution process.
So how much of that purchase in stores is researched online?
Yeah, so this is the big finale, which is that in this particular study we were able to put all this data together and find that over 50% of the sales data was being misallocated. So we were able to attribute.
So more than half of the brick sales was actually an online sale.
We're influenced by the online touch points along the way, absolutely. And of course you can imagine this impacts now not just financial modeling and forecasting, but even sales commissions and those sorts of things that are core to the business and the strategies.
So what's the consequence then for this company?
Well, the biggest one is being able to justify the ROI in digital spend. When you're able to quantify the amount of sales that you have, that you're...
So probably increase spend online maybe?
Absolutely, and not just the spend online, but to figure out which channels are activating which touch points and which are the most valuable, which are not valuable at different points in the conversion funnel. So, yeah.
Can you connect that as well? So which sale offline came from AdWords, which sale came from banners, whatever.
Absolutely, and of course the detail of the attribution model is to understand that it was a display ad that was viewed but never clicked on that was a part of this particular path to purchase. So upper funnel activities versus lower funnel activities, and we can understand and value each of these along that path to purchase and then do the media mix modeling accordingly.
Now everybody talks about big data. Is this like the first step towards really using big data?
Yeah, I think the best definition of big data that I ever heard was it's more than you can fit into Excel. And it has less to do with the...
That's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people are just drowning in data. They have it. We're generating data every second of every day. They just don't know what to do with it. So this is one of those applications where you can start to marry different data sources together and actually make it usable. So provide these actionable insights to help you do things like allocate your spend or justify a particular channel over another.
And what did US Cellular actually do with, what kind of decisions did they make when they knew your data, your analysis?
Well, so the best part of this is not a one-time thing. The last part of this was to automate this process. So now we are pulling this data on frequent bases, and we're able to then use this model to continually make adjustments. So for example, if we modeled that putting 10% away from this particular channel and moving it to this particular channel would have an impact. Well, we can.
And that's what they actually do.
Absolutely, and of course you're seeing annual planning coming into play where budgets are defined, and of course now you have a lot of ammunition if you're a digital marketing manager to go in and say, I believe we should extend this particular channel, ask for more budgets, and start to expand these programs.
What's your advice to a European omni-channel retailer?
You know, I think the reality is just to understand that the era of collecting data is now transforming into the era of using data. And the first things that need to be done are really along the lines of where you are now. So if you're in a place where you've just put in place data collection, you're probably not at a point where you're going to be doing predictive modeling around sorts of product recommendations.
But for some companies it will be hard because a cellular phone has to be registered online, I assume. But like, for instance, other products are never registered online.
But they're purchased with a credit card or a name or a loyalty program or an email sign up or a loyalty newsletter. Any one of those points can be an identification point. And again, a lot of this can be done anonymously. We don't necessarily need to know your name to understand what your customer segment may be, right? So,
but you do need some kind of a cookie.
Potentially a cookie, but more often than not, this is going to be linked back to a CRM ID or a point of sale, a sort of transaction ID. All those things can be used to then model at different levels. So whether we know your name personally or not, we can still, again, target cookies that are like you or use this to buy audiences or augment display buys that we're making, even if we don't have a particular name. And again, it's of less importance to do one-to-one marketing there.
So first step for a retailer would be to look at the data, if you have the good amount of the right data to make this connection?
Before you look at the data, understand what you want to do. The data is there. The hard part is finding out how to use it. So understand where you are. If you've never done a project before, it's going to be very hard for you to jump into data modeling. What you need is someone who's been there and done that to guide you through and understand the data you have and the things you can do with it. Then prioritize those projects and understand what you're going to do to get value. Just wandering around with a light in the dark trying to find insights in enormous data sets is really a waste of time. You'll get nowhere and you'll spend a lot of effort doing it. Whereas if you know that you stand in a certain place, you know what data you have, and you know what you can do with that data, put in place that structure, that governance to say, in the next 6 months, we'd like to use our customer data in order to influence our media spend, for example. That's a tangible goal, and there's a path to get there. Yeah.
What did you like best in doing this? What was fun and interesting?
Well, I think the interesting part is that we're able to quantify something that everyone kind of consciously knows and talks about. We all know that we use these technologies in the online world, and we also know that we have an offline experience in the shopping world. However, it's been very, very difficult to connect these. And of course, you hear the debates around, well, cookies don't extend devices. Cookies are dropped when you walk into a particular store. All of these iBeacons and things that are not quite here yet are the dream.
Getting here.
Exactly, but we're able to do this now, and this is something that's already tangible. So for me, it was really exciting to be able to put some numbers behind this, put some structures and some data, some technologies and techniques together to really quantify this and show that absolutely these touch points did influence the offline experience. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.